Australians do a lot of voting, and history shows we don't always get it right. In 2013, we voted for Tony Abbott. In 2007, we voted for Kevin Rudd. And in 2003, we voted for Guy Sebastian. And Aussie was robbed. Soon we'll be doing even more voting with a plebiscite on same-sex marriage. Not to be confused with a pleb in sight, which is what Malcolm Turnbull thinks when he sees the common man. Rather, a plebiscite is a vote on a question of national importance that does not affect the Constitution, like whether same-sex marriage should be legal, or whether Shannon Knoll's What About Me should be our national anthem. The answer to both is yes, obviously. Why didn't we do it years ago? The plebiscite was first proposed by Tony Abbott, the suppository of good ideas. But just like Abbott, the plebiscite has had a rough 12 months, with so many people opposing it, like now ex-Senator David Lionel, the first Bond villain elected to Parliament, who pointed out the moral issue with the plebiscite.
There's also a principal problem with the plebiscite in that we have people voting on other people's rights.
I never thought I'd say this, but I totally agree with David Lionel. You can't vote on what another group can or cannot do. Imagine having a plebiscite on whether footballers can say, yeah, nah, or whether VB drinkers can be unemployed, or whether men at Stereosonic can be shirtless and abuse steroids. You can't vote on that. David, tell me more.
The right decision would be to either say yes, let everybody have the same rights to get married, which is my preferred position, or no.
Exactly. Either everybody can get married or nobody can get married. Honey, it's over. The plebiscite fell through. We're getting divorced. Tell the kids it's the electorate's fault and we don't love them anymore. Even Alan Jones, the radio shock jock and red balloon, is against the plebiscite.
I'm certainly opposed to a plebiscite on this issue, and I think it would be very unfortunate if we went down a track where we've spent a whole heap of money and had people throwing insults at one another.
I never thought I'd say this either, but see if you can spot Alan Jones in this flock of flamingos. Not only is a plebiscite morally dubious, PwC says it will cost $525 million. To put that in terms Malcolm Turnbull can understand, that's about 2.5 Malcolm Turnbulls. In other terms, for each person's vote, we could be spending over $6. That's a lot of money to spend just to conduct a poll, especially when a Twitter poll would be free. The options could be no, yes, and Jesus Christ, I can't believe we're still talking about this. New Zealand legalised this in 2013. They'll always have that over us. Come to think of it, they probably call it same-sex marriage. But seriously, just do it already. And then we could use that extra $6 to buy each Australian a deconstructed coffee at a trendy cafe served on a wooden board. Deconstructed coffee, brought to you by IKEA. Smooth product placement. Not only is it going to be expensive, a plebiscite won't be binding. Malcolm Turnbull said that irrespective of the result, the tradition in the Liberal Party is that on matters of this kind, it's a free vote. Which would be true if it weren't for the fact that it were completely false. 16 bills have been introduced in Parliament for marriage equality, and not once has the Liberal Party allowed a conscience vote. You can't say you have a tradition of doing something if you haven't done it for years. That's like saying Adam Sandler has a tradition of good movies, or Australian tennis players having a tradition of not being dickheads. So to recap, the origins of this plebiscite are morally dubious, it costs a lot of money and isn't even binding, just like marriage. Plus, the plebiscite might become a homophobia platform. Right now, the only platform for homophobes is writing for News Corp or being a Liberal Party backbencher. Some of whom plan to vote against same-sex marriage no matter the result of the plebiscite, such as Corey Bernardi, pictured here trying to pull the gay out of Penny Wong. And Erica Betts, the love child of Jack Nicholson and Colonel Clink. Sadly, the homophobia has already begun. Former Liberal MP Chris Miles, seen here enjoying an erection, don't think about that too much, authorised this pamphlet, which claims that same-sex marriage will lead to sexual transmitted disease, drug use and anxiety in family, which are also the consequences of telling your parents you're dating Shane Warne. The pamphlet further warns that same-sex marriage will lead to romantic relationships. Oh no, not romance. Next we'll have to ban roses and confessing your love at the airport. Thank God my straight parents show me the benefits of non-committal fuck-buddy relationships. Finally, the pamphlet claims that same-sex marriage will lead to sex education about boy to boy sex and girl to girl sex. Which makes you wonder if Miles has ever had sex. Yeah, I have sex to my wife all the time. We do it once a year on Christmas. She pretends I'm Jesus and I also pretend I'm Jesus. Best 30 seconds of the year. Miles is joined by the Australian Christian Lobby, whose logo features a semen stain under UV light. We've all seen NCIS. The ACL has called for anti-discrimination laws to be overridden so they can equally express their views leading up to the plebiscite. In other words, the ACL wants to change a law that makes them feel unequal. Who would have thought the ACL and the gay community have so much in common? The ACL's director is Lyle Shelton, pictured here wondering whose semen is in his logo. The answer is Chris Miles. Merry Christmas. Shelton claims that changing the definition of marriage would directly affect him.
Well, if the definition of marriage is changed, it's no longer assumed that millions of people like myself who are married, it's assumed that I'm married to a woman. So that affects me straight away.
So you're worried about people assuming you're gay if the law changes?
Well, they may or may not.
I don't know, dinner parties might get real awkward for Lyle. Hi, I'm Lyle Shelton. This is my female wife, Mrs. Shelton. We are not gay, okay? She is a woman, I'm a man. Not gay. We have sex once a year on Christmas. Tell them, honey. She pretends I'm Jesus and I also pretend I'm Jesus, but not in a gay way or anything. Best 30 seconds of the year. The point is, this plebiscite is a morally dubious, non-binding waste of money and allows for that type of bigotry to be aired. That's easy to see, unlike Alan Jones in A Flock of Flamingos. There he is. So Parliament should just give the people what they want. Legalise same-sex marriage, and while you're at it, make What About Me our national anthem, because it's about time.